We are having a moment of sort of unbelievably dramatic news that's like if you were pitching a movie, the people you were pitching it to would say, no, that's too over the top. We can't do that. Denmark reportedly sent soldiers just a few weeks ago. They sent soldiers to Greenland armed with explosives and blood supplies. The explosives were to blow up the runways at airports in Greenland, and the blood supplies were in anticipation of combat casualties in a conflict with the United States. That is, if the U.S. could find a way to put U.S. troops on the ground in Greenland without landing on the blown-up airfields. Think about that for a second. I mean, Denmark, it's freaking Denmark. They are literally and officially our ally, but they had to send troops out with live ammunition and blood supplies and live explosives, not for an exercise, not for training, but on a real deployment on which they planned to disable the airfields in Greenland to protect their territory against us, against the United States. You may also recall that Denmark is in NATO. So if Trump actually does try to use military force to take Greenland, we will be at war with all of NATO. But now I guess we know how it would start. Too dramatic? Too far-fetched? Oh, wait, there's more. Consider Hungary right now. The authoritarian leader in Hungary, Viktor Orban, keeps getting visits from top U.S. officials. He just got one from Secretary of State Marco Rubio. He's supposed to host Vice President J.D. Vance very soon. Trump did a creepy video endorsement for Viktor Orban this weekend. Our government is doing everything they can to try to sort of fluff Viktor Orban right now, to prop him up, because Hungary is having elections next month. And if Viktor Orban allows those elections to go forward, it really looks like he's going to lose. So our authoritarian government is trying to prop up his authoritarian government with these big public shows of support. But because the news is the way it is right now, I also have to tell you that Russia is approaching this same task with a bit more style. New reporting from the Washington Post this weekend. Headline, to tilt Hungarian election, Russians proposed staging assassination attempt. Quote, in the run-up to Hungary's pivotal election in April, Russia's Foreign Intelligence Service last month began sounding the alarm over plummeting public support for Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban, whose friendly ties to Moscow have long given the Kremlin a strategic foothold inside NATO and the European Union. Officers from the SVR, Russian military intelligence, suggested that drastic action might be necessary to help Orban, a strategy they called the game changer. SVR operatives said the game changer would, quote, fundamentally alter the entire paradigm of the election campaign. And what was the game changer? The game changer was, quote, the staging of an assassination attempt on Viktor Orban. Washington Post reporting that to try to help Orban in his election, the Russians have already mounted social media campaigns to boost Orban, much as they did for Donald Trump. They've used fake allegations against Orban's political enemies. They've used fake AI-generated videos to spread wild smears against opposition candidates. But they also apparently were plotting to fake an assassination attempt against Viktor Orban in order to get people to rally behind him. Too dramatic? Too over the top? Not believable enough? Oh, but wait, we've also still got the Strait of Hormuz shut down, choked off as a result of the U.S. President, Donald Trump, inexplicably starting a war with Iran for reasons he has yet to explain and with goals he has yet to credibly articulate. This weekend, President Trump announced a no ifs, ands, or buts ultimatum that if Iran doesn't open up the shipping lanes in the Strait of Hormuz by today, by Monday, Trump promised he would commit a capital W, capital C war crime. He said he would bomb Iran's civilian power plants, starting, quote, with the biggest one first. That was the ultimatum as of Saturday. He would do that today, unless the Strait of Hormuz opened up. Today rolled around, and even though it's not even yet Taco Tuesday, Trump nevertheless backed down. He announced that he has delayed his planned war crime because there are now new talks, he says, happening between us and the Iranians. The Iranians say, no, there aren't any new talks going on. Suspiciously, Trump won't say who these supposed talks are with, but he says they're definitely going great. And even though he says they're going great, now he's also sending 4,500 sailors and Marines over there, and the New York Times is reporting that he's considering calling up the 82nd Airborne as well. How well are the talks going? However well Trump says these phantom supposed talks are going, watch what he does, not what he says. And if you do that in this inexplicable war, it really seems like Donald Trump has started something he has absolutely no idea how to finish. And aside from everything else this war is doing, there is a very real prospect it is going to crater not only our own economy, but the world economy, with Trump having no plan for that whatsoever. To put it lightly, we are having some drama at the moment. I mean, because of the president and his Republican Party's policies in Washington, 2 million Americans have lost their health insurance. Just since the beginning of the year, for millions more, healthcare has become dramatically more expensive, specifically because of Republican policies. The Federal Reserve just announced that there has been, quote, zero net job creation in the private sector over the past 6 months. Zero jobs created in 6 months in the private sector. One Trump-supporting Republican sheriff in California has just seized the ballots from the last statewide California election in his county. Not because the sheriff's office has anything to do with election administration in Riverside County or anywhere else, but because that sheriff and his deputies have guns and badges, and they say they heard something was wrong with the election. So in Riverside County, California, that MAGA sheriff just seized 1,000 boxes of elections material, including more than 650,000 ballots. As American air travel absolutely melts down, not only because the price of jet fuel is skyrocketing thanks to Trump's war of choice in Iran. No, as American air travel today absorbs not only that, but also yet another Trump-era fatal collision at yet another airport, this time a runway collision at LaGuardia in New York, which killed 2 pilots and sent 41 people to the hospital, as TSA security lines tonight exceed 4 hours just to get through security at Houston's airport, as Atlanta advises travelers on domestic flights that they're going to need at least 4 hours lead time at that airport before just domestic flights. Today, in the midst of that meltdown, President Trump told Republicans at a campaign event in Tennessee that he did not want the TSA crisis to be solved. He said he did not want there to be any talks about resolving the TSA crisis and funding TSA agents until Democrats agreed to pass new restrictions on voting rights. He said Republicans had to get this done, quote, for Jesus. Okay. MS Now is reporting tonight that the ICE agents Trump has sent to the airport, supposedly to help with the TSA disaster, the ICE enforcement and removal operations officers, the ERO officers that they've sent, they, quote, do not have the ability to check travelers' identification or screen passengers. So what are they there for? Other than to creep everyone out and crowd the food court and, you know, remind the poor beleaguered TSA agents who actually are trained to do this job that they're not being paid to be at work right now, while these random bros from ICE who can't actually do anything are being paid their full salaries to stand around and creep everyone out and add to how crowded it is in the terminal without actually doing anything to help at all.